Okay, this is piece 222, the Malagan display and mask. It's from New Ireland. New Ireland is an island that's a province of Papua New Guinea, the country Papua New Guinea. These are made in the 20th century. They are actually still made today. They're made of wood, pigment, fiber, and shell, so all local materials. There's two vocabulary words associated with this piece that you kind of have to know from the get-go. One is the word Malagan, and Malagan refers to two things. It refers to all these sculptures as well as the ceremony. And then Tatanua refers to these masks that are helmet-like, and they feature this incredible orange fiber that is representative of hair, and these are worn by men in the performance of the ceremony. Okay, so context here in this blue star is where New Ireland province is right there. And here's what it looks like on a Google cool map. Here's Papua New Guinea, and here is New Ireland. So New Ireland is a province of Papua New Guinea. And context for this, the context is that this whole ceremony, Malagan ceremony, is very expensive for a family to put on. And there's a lot that goes on with this. It's feasting, it's the ceremony, it's all of this sculpture that's prepared for years, and it could be years in advance if the family needs that much time to gather the resources to pay the sculptors to make this. I mean, if you're wealthy enough, you could probably do it in a few months after somebody's died. It involves elaborately carved sculptures, poles, friezes, the building itself, and masks. Okay, so once a family pays for this Mulligan display and masks, they own it. And not only do they own the items, they also own the copyright for the design of the items. And once these are used, the owners can sell the copyrights. And people in this culture compete. They would like to, if one is just seems like it's great, some people will compete to get that copyright. This whole process encourages the sculptors to be always developing new ideas in these Mulligan sculptures and in the masks. The function of this is that it's meant to honor the dead, and it's kind of finalizes the death process. It allows the dead to go into the spiritual realm. It's like the last thing that's done on earth here before the spirits leave. And it is such an elaborate event in the culture of the people on New Ireland that this is also a time when people in the community can conduct transactions, and it's a kind of a formal situation where these transactions are taking place. And I've already alluded the fact that this is expensive, and so this confers a lot of prestige and status on the family that is hosting this event and hosting this display. And then once this is done, the function of this, once this is done, is that the living are done with their obligations to the dead. So it's kind of a final rite of passage into death. The function of the mask, the Tatanua mask, is that the man wears this during the ceremony, and so it's a part of the performance of the ceremony. And these masks aren't just worn once. These can be kept and used multiple times. So in terms of content, at the end of the ceremony honoring the dead, this whole display of all these sculptures honoring that dead person are shown, and then this is destroyed after the ceremony. And the thought is that they're destroyed or they can be sold to outsiders. So that's why there's like 5,000 of these around the world, is because they have served their purpose. The spiritual transition of going into death has been done. Okay, so the content of these masks and of the sculptures is that we've got the ancestors represented here. We can have mythological animals represented here, or spiritual entities that protect the community can be represented here. They're not a vessel of mana that we see in other Pacific Island art. So in terms of form, you've seen several of these now. You probably noticed that they're mostly male, or they're all male. They have this iconography of animals, plants, ancestors, and such animals as snakes. I don't know if you can see a snake here. Crocodiles, fish. And so you can see it's just a huge combination of everything in the animal human world. And they're all placed in a display building once they are complete. And in terms of form, you can see these are quite elaborate, right? This is probably some of the most elaborate art in the Pacific. They can have this symmetrical feel to them, so that everything that is equaled out on each side, and they can also have a pretty elaborate paint job. Like, look at this color work here. Wow. And then they can also have lots of different texture in them. So this is some amazing texture here, smooth texture there, hair added, fiber added. And then as far as the masks, no Tatanua masks are alike, but they can be pretty similar. So big, prominent open mouths, asymmetrical hair design like this is because men shave their heads as a sign of grief in this culture. So here you can see the variety of the Malagan display here with these sculptures, and then the masks shown here. Okay, so this is the Malagan display and mask. New Ireland is a province of Papua New Guinea, made in the 20th century, the 1900s, and still the culture is still using this today, still doing it. So wood, pigment, fiber, and shell are the products being used to, or the materials used to make these products.